welcome. Thanks for hopping on.
Of
I
course.
just to start, I guess maybe a quick intro of who you are and what you do.
Sure. So my name is Dan Wonder, and I'm the Director of Marketing and Communications for the St. Louis City and County Board of Real Estate, or our official name, which is St. Louis Realtors.
Woo! That's the official title.
Official title.
It sounds serious. It is serious. It is serious. So we worked together. What was it like? What was the catalyst for, hey, I think we need something done?
So about a few years ago, our board of directors, this was probably back in 2022, I believe, basically set forth that we needed to come up with a plan to tackle kind of a larger diversity initiative, not only within our association, but also within the St. Louis City and County community as well. They ended up creating a presidential advisory group or a PAG, and they ended up basically putting together these 33 goals that were part of a larger thing called the Reimagining St. Louis Plan. And one of those aspects was to come up with kind of a video testimonial or kind of like a video project that basically would summarize our work over 3 years towards these basically all these goals. It was something that was kind of always in those goals as part of it. It wasn't something, like down the road that it was like, hey, we need to do video. No, it was always from the start. We want to make sure that we're showcasing, hey, this is where we started, this is where we are now, and this is how we kind of have come this far. With testimonials from members that were in it from the start, and were actively engaging in these, as well as staff members that were implementing the project, like my coworker at the time, Felicia Crawford Randall. But yeah,
I love it. Yeah, from the start, it was like we need some video to get this out to the
yes.
world. So I'm curious, what was the process like? How did you find me? How did you find the company? Was that you?
I knew that we were going to have this video project for this DEI reimagining St. Louis plan coming up. And just from the way when you first introduced yourself and like the initial like kind of packages that you showcase that you're able to do for uh video projects, it was kind of like, I think you might be a better fit for that larger scope of a project like that. And I honestly think you were a perfect fit for it.
So I'm curious what you thought of the whole process from the start to getting into production. How did you feel about the production?
Production I think was great. I know from the get-go you were very good about laying down a game plan with us of for this project, for example, we knew it was going to probably take about a full year to get through. Not done every single day, but sporadically because we were filming events that would happen maybe 3 months apart from each other. But you were good about kind of setting up a schedule, making sure, that if you yourself were not able to be there to film and do audio, that you would have some of your colleagues be able to come out, have that scheduled, and had them very well prepared in advance. And also, I think the big thing for us too was you're looking at things, a year out. Things fluctuate and change sometimes, especially when working in an association and a nonprofit like this. And so you were very good, I know, with being able to help kind of, hey, our dates changed or our times changed, or maybe we're doing something different now. Can we move to this? You were very good at working with us in that regard too.
Yeah, I always say let's play some jazz. It's like we got kind of a rhythm going, but we'll riff on these notes. It it's something I'm very proud of being able to be flexible. There are a lot of people who are like, nope, the date's set and that's it. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that kind of stinks. I don't
Yeah.
know. That's just me. But okay, so production sounds good. Post-production side, I'm curious, and you can be as authentic as you want
Sure.
in the
Um,
post-production side.
I know from our perspective, I think there was a lot of cooks in the kitchen, and that isn't anything on your regard by any means. That was just from this project that we had you working with. It's a DEI project, and diversity, equity, and inclusion projects, there's a lot of lenses you have to look through. There's a lot of different messaging that you have to make sure that you're hitting just right, that it's not just put out there in one way. You need to make sure that it's being put out there so that it's being understood in a correct format by the people you're trying to help educate and understand with the project. I know that there was a lot of back and forth on editing. I think you were very good at being able to sift with us through those changes and also good at kind of, I think, helping keep people on track. I think of, like my colleague, for example, because she was the diversity, equity, and inclusion director or yeah, director, that she had a lot of opinions on things in the way that, hey, this makes more sense. We need to put this in this order, or this needs to come first, and this sort of thing. For me in my role, as a marketing communications person, I look at more the aesthetics of things and to make sure that it's on brand with our association as a whole. And so, she obviously is going to have a lot more critical look because it's specifically about her area, than like someone like myself, where I'm just looking at more the kind of the overall nuances from the association perspective. And I will say to that point, I know that actually kind of came up in discussion when we were because we interviewed probably I think it was three different contractors, including yourself, and that was a conversation piece. Was, hey, this is a white man. Should we find somebody that might be black or Asian or gay, lesbian, straight, somebody that is within a minority group. And the thing that really stuck out for for us from you was it was not only your professionalism, but it was your willingness to learn. It was your willingness to, I think, jump in and be like, hey, teach me this stuff as well too, because this is not only important to you guys, it's important to me to help my business. And also the aspect that I know that, you kind of had like a very structured game plan from the get-go of how to approach this, where other individuals that we talked to didn't have that sort of thing, It was, even though they might have worked in that scope already or in kind of the diversity realm, they didn't have a plan for how to attack things from that strategic point of view. And that to me was very beneficial on your part.
How has the video been used? What what does that look like?
Is we premiered it at our, I believe it was our legislative forecast breakfast that we do in January, like end of January, early February. Um, I remember that when we played it there for the very first time, it really left the room, I think, in kind of a sense of awe of all the things that had been accomplished through the program. Um, I remember people applauding it. I do remember that. And we gave you guys a lot of credit for all the work that you had put on it. The video now actually lives on our TV that's out in the lobby of our association. So it is playing basically in a continuous PowerPoint loop of other information and things that are going on in the association. We have it living on our website as well too for members to watch if they want to, as well as on our YouTube channel. And it was also shared on social media initially when it was launched as well too.
That is amazing. So how does it feel, I guess, to have this out in the world then?
It's it's kind of crazy, honestly, because like we watch it and we're just like, wow, we've done all these things, and it's like, like we have to pat ourselves on the back, that like I know initially when they set out to do this objective, I mean, it's daunting. You have these 30, initiatives put forth by the PAG and the board of directors in the diversity realm, and it's like, whoa, man, these are some big things. And Felicia Crawford Randall and the Inclusion Advisory Group and the association as a whole, I mean, really tackled them. I mean, really went through and made sure, that we were, not just hitting the mark with, just checking a box off, but making sure that these are things that are going to make lasting impacts for the years to come.
Yeah, that's those are big words, but it's important. It's important stuff. It really is. I hope it does keep keep playing because I mean, it's a cool video. I'm gonna pat myself on the back here. It was a cool
It's
video.
great. It's a good piece.
Yeah. Well, I kind of like to end it with like open floor. If there's anything that you want to say, or if this is real open mic. So if there's nothing, you're like, no, I feel good, then we could call it. But if you feel like there's anything that's burning on your chest, now's your opportunity.
I think the big thing that like I think of, especially with working with you, easy guy to work with. That is something that I actually look for a lot in working with contractors in my position. People can be the best at what they can do, but if they're not easy to work with, you can't teach that. I think some people just have it, which I think you do, and others don't. It makes a world of a difference. Like I said, I know that there was a lot of going back and forth on editing and also kind of rescheduling days for shooting these events and stuff. And you took it with grace. You could tell that it was like second nature to you. You just kind of rolled with it. And like I said, for someone that's in our industry as an association, a nonprofit, that's that is a great feature to have, especially with what you do.
Well, thank you. I
Yes.
appreciate it. I